What's going on, everyone? Back for week 4 Bills recap. Bills Dolphins. Buffalo dominates with an impressive 48-20 win over what everybody was claiming to be the best team in football. Buffalo took them to the woodshed this week. We'll get into it here. Normally in the past I like to do the good, bad, and ugly breakdowns, but I think this week we're gonna skip that. We're just gonna do a little game recap. We'll start with the offense. First things first. Josh Allen, darn near perfect this week. 21 of 25, 320 yards, 4 passing touchdowns, and then on top of that, he threw in a rushing touchdown this week. When you have as many incomplete passes as you do touchdown passes, you're you're not going to lose many games that way. So heck of a week for Josh, and the guy he looked for often yesterday was Stephon Diggs. 6 receptions, 120 yards, and he caught 3 of those 4 touchdowns from Josh. So when those two are clicking, man, this offense, it is tough to stop. And yesterday it seemed like play after play. It was 17-14, and they were just, man, doing their thing. I don't foresee anybody else beating either one of these guys out for the AFC Offensive Player of the Week for Week 4. Would probably think by default it'd probably go to Josh just because he had 5 total touchdowns. So, heck of a game offensively for the boys. You can do a breakdown here of their drives. They go touchdown, 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 punt, touchdown, field goal, halftime. Then they go field goal, touchdown, touchdown, punt, and then ended the ball game. So that's wild, especially in today's game. They ended with 414 total yards, and they averaged 7.4 yards a play. Just silly stuff. I had read a stat here before jumping on to do this video that they said that Buffalo has won now 3 straight games of 28 points or more. They said I think that's the first time in the Super Bowl era that's been done by a team. So offense is clicking, and myself have been very critical and vocal of Ken Dorsey and his play calling. But man, these last 3 weeks, his game plans have been solid. There's been times where the play calling I haven't loved. There was a few plays, in this week's games, that you kind of shake your head at. But you can't complain when you win by 4 touchdowns, especially against the team that everybody had already crowned as the Super Bowl champions this year, pretty much. So it was a crazy day on offense, and not only from the guys that you'll hear about, Josh and Diggs, and even Gabe Davis had a touchdown catch. James Cook got in the end zone for his first rushing touchdown of the year. But the offensive line, these guys have really stepped it up since that week one game where Josh was getting hit all the time. They said this week it was I think 5 total QB pressures allowed against Josh. 2 of those turned into sacks, but when you're keeping your quarterback clean in the pocket, that's what's gonna happen. You're gonna have him throw for 4 touchdown passes, especially if you have Josh Allen as your quarterback. So the offensive guys, man, I keep it going. It just, as long as, kind of like what I said in the first week, as long as Dorsey stays out of his own way, and he doesn't try to reinvent the wheel, as they say, man, this offense very well could be the scariest one in the league. So but hey, to win by 4 touchdowns, you also need to shut the other team down. And boy, Sean McDermott's defense started off a little rocky. It was touchdown for touchdown there in the first quarter plus. So it seemed like it was going to be a shootout early, but McDermott got the boys settled down. And yeah, other than the opening drive touchdown in the second half for Miami, nothing on the board for them. Yeah, they got shut down, and quite honestly, they looked very uncomfortable. I mean, they did not look like a team that just dropped 70 points the week before. Tua looked, after he got hit once or twice, you could tell he kind of looked uncomfortable in the pocket and was looking to get rid of the ball quicker, and Buffalo was just taking away those quick options. And if it wasn't Devon A-Chain, bailing them out in the run game, it seemed like Tua just didn't have an answer for the Bills defense yesterday. He threw an ugly pick there. Micah Hyde coming up with his second one of the year, and it was kind of impressive to see, especially everybody, like I had said, they had already crowned that Miami was the best team, had the best offense, the revolutionizing the game, and just all that nonsense. And well, coming into the game, maybe that was true. Coming out of this game, I think hopefully everybody has kind of brought the Dolphins back down to earth. And I don't say that as the salty Bills fan that doesn't like to share the spotlight with somebody else. It's just, to be the best, you gotta beat the best, right? That's the old cliche. And the teams they've beaten, I don't really would consider them the best, but when you play against a team that's owns you, they've now won 9 of the last 10 meetings. Hopefully everybody calms down a little bit. So another cool, impressive stat was coming into the game. They said Tua had only been sacked twice all year, I believe, maybe once, twice. It was very little. And yesterday Buffalo got to him 4 times. So that defensive line's been hungry. You saw it the week prior in Washington where they just bullied Sam Howell, and man, they carried it over this week. And I think a lot of it had to do with the home energy as well. I mean, Sean McDermott said it, and there were a few Bills players that said it yesterday, was the loudest they'd ever heard Highmark Stadium in their time in Buffalo. So Bills Mafia showed up yesterday as well, and it was a great game on both sides of the ball. So speaking of defense, so wow, the boys balled out yesterday. Just some notes going forward. It was confirmed today Trey White tore his Achilles, which is just terrible, man. I mean, anybody within the inner circles of Buffalo sports and Buffalo social media, just it was well documented on how rough it was for him to come back from that ACL tear. And not just physically, but the mental side of it. He had came out and vocally said how rough it was on him. So I hate that for Trey, but maybe time for Kyrie Elam to step into the role. He was Buffalo's first draft pick last year, and he's been inactive for every game this year. So this may be his chance to step up and earn that draft pick status. Jordan Poyer didn't play yesterday. Still a little banged up. Hopefully he'll be back for the London game, because we're going to need some help, because also Christian Bedford went down. He did return in the game, but I think they said it was a shoulder injury, so don't know how that's going to affect him going forward. But yeah, with those 3 guys going down, Buffalo is definitely thin in the secondary, so any help or I guess any good news on the injury side would be huge. Another cool tidbit yesterday's game, defensive side, special team side. I don't really think he lined up as a defensive player, but Damar Hamlin made his season debut, which was awesome. I mean, the energy in Buffalo yesterday was obviously high because it was Miami. It was a big game, but it was definitely electric when number 3 stepped on the field yesterday. So that was so cool to see. We got the DeMar shirt on today, so I mean it was awesome to see. Obviously his story was well documented, so coming full circle at home. It was just, that was pretty cool. But hey, we're going to take this win. We're going to enjoy it. Especially, big wins like this against divisional opponents don't happen that often. So, as Sean McDermott says, humble and hungry. We're moving forward. We get the London game here in week 5 against Jacksonville. Me personally, I hate the London games, but I know a lot of the players said they were looking forward to it. It's been a few years since Buffalo been over there, so yep. This week it is. I guess technically it's listed as Jacksonville at Buffalo, but they're going to be playing in. They're going to be playing across the pond in England, London. Early game on Sunday, so we'll see. Jacksonville's 2-2. Buffalo's 3-1. Jacksonville has nowhere near peaked and hit their stride yet, offensively especially. So hopefully the defense keeps it rolling, keeps them shut down. And next week when we sit down to do this, we're looking at the 4-1 Buffalo Bills. So appreciate y'all tuning in, and go Bills.